Mr. Arora up, and I actually met him through eBay, and there's a synergy there that has to do not only with the sort of entrepreneurial spirit, the fact that they are both in that world, but also there's something about a shared humanity that sort of oozes in the presence of these two. So I'd like for you to speak to how you blurbed his book, how this notion of fear manifests itself in your personal and professional life, and then we'll have the conversation with the two of you.
Thank you, Dr. Lester. I am blessed to be here, but while it's good to be blessed, I think it's better to be a blessing. And the fact that eBay and my paths crossed several years ago, 10 years ago, is itself a blessing, and that the fact that we are here today is testimony to that. eBay has said it all, but one day I was asleep and I heard a knock. It was fear knocking on my door. I didn't want to get up, but I sent faith to open the door. Faith goes and opens. Don't see nobody. There's no fear. Then I realized that while fear keeps us awake, it's faith that helps us to sleep. And when you have faith in yourself, in humanity, 101 here, when the city of Tempe honored me with the highest humanitarian award, the Don Carlos Award, the only thing I told and I asked and I said to myself and them that humanity is an ocean. If a few drops are dirty, it doesn't make the ocean dirty. So what it means basically is, what is the fear? What are we afraid of? Are we afraid of ourselves? Are we afraid of the system? Are we afraid to succeed? Because if you feel inadequate or you feel that you are inferior in any way, then fear will be the only thing that will stay with you on a permanent level. That's the only thing permanent, is fear, because it's a quintessential human emotion, because we are afraid right from childhood. And I will walk you through 7 decades of my life and related to fear, so you'll understand what eBay's book is all about. It's a good book, very insightful. And my 70 years is out of experience of living in fear, surviving out of fear. I am a refugee child. My parents were refugees when India was split up in the 40s. There was complete bloodbath, 14 million people displaced. Dad found his way to come to Calcutta, India. And what happens in the 1940s? We were just out after the war. We were walking into a depression. We come to an unknown place where we've been uprooted in a place called Calcutta with only clothes on our back, shirt on the back, no food. So every day you wake up hungry, you wake up angry. The fear of survival, because that's the most basic instinct. How do we overcome that? Do we want to die? Do we want to be seen, which Dominic Lapierre wrote as the greatest slum in the world, to be born? I would look at the stars. The stars would still be the same anyway. So what happens? I was blessed to work with Mother Teresa for 16 years. And when I worked with Mother Teresa, we would pick up lepers. We would do all the menial jobs. What was the fear? Contracting leprosy, contracting these infectious diseases, working in the slums. Did Mother Teresa get sick? No. She overcame her fear by compassion, by love, by empathy, by forgiveness, by integrity, by kindness, respect, and self-reflection. I still, 70 years later, 68 years later, I look every day in front of the mirror and look at my own blind spots, my own things, what I'm really there for, what's my core. But I don't let fear get to me. You know why? Because I let that mirror, I try to look into that mirror and see not who's the fairest of them all, but mirror, tell me what's wrong with me. And I say, fear, you're my friend. I will convert that mirror into the windows of opportunity. And I walked through. 1940s made way to 1950s. Okay, Dad could not afford a school, so I would walk 5 miles. Was I afraid that I will be kidnapped? Mom was afraid. I said, if I didn't go to school, Mom, I would be home. I wouldn't do anything extraordinary or ordinary. We would still be in the same rut. I was 5 years old, 4 years old, walked 5 miles to school. There was no food in the morning. Okay, Mom would add water to stretch the milk. We would walk 3 miles to ration lines and get food for the week. Would we have enough food? That was the fear. It was a different kind of a fear, but that was a real fear. Okay, it wasn't illusory. It wasn't imaginary. When poverty stares at you, that's by your bedside. That's your nightstand. That's your lamp to get you awake. When you stare at poverty, that becomes your best friend. And fear in the darkness. Okay, we are afraid of the dark. Little child, when he's 5 months old, 8 months old, he tries to crawl. He does not know fear. He crawls, he falls, he gets up, he's walking, because that's the nature's game. So I would walk to school. Why would I walk to school? Because there was a bigger mission. Not just walk, because I was a skinny old little guy, and I would walk because education became my refuge. School became my refuge. And why would it become my refuge? Because there was no way out. Because the rich people wouldn't play with you. You had only one set of uniforms in the 50s. Times were very hard. So you had an exit. So what was the fear? Fear to be accepted by the society. How would you overcome? Okay? How would you overcome? Then, while I'm in kindergarten, I fall off the roof from 2 floors down, waiting for Mom to come. I still remember that morning. I'm trying to get up. My leg is broken. I can't get up. Nobody wants to help me. Okay, so what do? I look up, look around. People are walking. So I was afraid I could lose my leg. But I figured if I lost my leg, then I would be limping. It would be worse. So I brought in my willpower, the inner thing in me, little guy trying to get up. They put me in a cast for 2 years. I come out of the cast, the leg has become this skinny, the thigh. Everybody says we got to cut him up and surgery. Then I heard Dad telling Mom, but we don't have money for the surgery. I heard miracles happen. So somebody said, well, you should massage him every day. This boy, the bone is like this, that. In the end, long story short, I become a star soccer player for my school. I become a field hockey player. But I could walk. I could run, because faith kept telling me I need to accept and embrace this uncertainty. So that was the 50s, growing up. Now you come to the decade of decadence in 60s. I'm a young boy, 15, 16-year-old, student unrest everywhere. Okay, it's coming to Calcutta, the communism is coming, the influence from the West is coming in the 60s, and I'm ready to go to college, but I could go either way. But I choose not to give credence to things that came in easy. That fear of doing well, fear of coexisting, fear to excel, fear to succeed, propelled me literally to be a student par excellence. So I could study, I could put my competition behind me, because we never had a car, and there were dense fog in those days, and I happened to ride with one of my friends who had a car. Out of pity, he took me to school, and I was afraid. Fog, dense fog, dense fog, dense fog. But I saw every time he stepped on the gas, the fog was behind. The fog was behind. The fog was behind me. And I realized life is like that. It's an incredible journey. You know why? Because fog is an illusion. It's like a mirage. Hey, I'm also human. There's nothing human that's alien in me. Granted, they're wearing nice clothes, nice suits. I can do it. So I go through school. I get into a good college on my own merit, and I succeed. I become the youngest accountant in my country at the age of 21. Now, the fear of growth. How do you propel yourself into a working life to be accepted in the 70s? Now we are coming into the 70s when the hippies, the free love, the movement, the drugs, Woodstock, all that, the after effects. Can this young boy from Calcutta be swallowed by this huge wave of things that are happening around you? But no, I had faith. I had faith as my best friend. And I woke up every morning, and I said, no, I'm not going to do the drugs. I'm not going to do this. I've got to see the sacrifices my parents have made, my family had to make when they lost everything. I am 22 years old, going to be 23. I need to keep working, keep working. By the time I was 26, I had written 7 books on corporate law. On corporate law, I had written 7 books, making me the youngest author in the world. Okay, at the age of 27. International internal audit, forensic audit. So I went through that phase. That I believe I am possible. What was the fear? The fear is of the impossible. It made me focus. Fear became my focal point. Fear brought out the best in me. Fear gave me a clarity of vision. Fear took me out of my cocoon, and I traveled 90 countries. I was blessed to meet the Pope. I was blessed to meet many heads of states, and my investigative cases appeared in the London Times on the front pages. I had audience with many heads of states, but I never let it get to me. That humility of the thing that kept me firmly planted was the lessons I learned in my childhood of dignity, compassion, diversity, inclusion, love. So that was the 70s. Then I walk in to come to US for my PhD in white-collar crime. Great land of opportunity here, perfect place for me. 80s, greed was running rampant. Money, 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 money. So I get immersed in the American dream. Okay? What is this Indian guy, a minority fellow, doing here in the midst of this huge ocean of conglomerates, greed, the Wall Street? But I make my mark. No sponsors, no nothing. I come here for a PhD, I stray, I become a consultant to the food industry, to doing my things, and I survived the 80s. And I achieved the American dream, the old American dream where opportunity and hard work and perseverance. 80s did not satisfy me, so I come into the 90s. Again, it's survival. 90s, the dot-com boom, this boom is coming, that boom is coming. You feel inadequate. But what happens when you self-reflect? Fear brings out the best in you. It draws the best in you. It becomes your best friend. All the time I would remember a hero and a coward both feel fear the same way. Only the hero, the strong, confronts his fear and converts it into a fire. So this 90s became my fuel for the 2000s. I'm up to in 2000, the dot-coms crash, everything is going wrong, but then what do? I come to Arizona and choose food as a medium. I remembered what Mother Teresa told me 60 years ago. Food, God comes to the poor in the form of food. So I built a center. And where do I build it? On the most blighted part of Tempe, Apache Boulevard. CD, blighted, crime-ridden, and everybody asked me, why aren't you afraid? You know, you will get mugged, you'll get robbed, and you are putting all your life savings in a thing here. Okay, there's no Indian business, there are only CD motels and streetwalkers. What are you doing? I said, you know what, when you're born with nothing, okay, you are not afraid of anybody. All you are afraid of is your own self. So what did I do from 2002, 2003? I feel my neighbors in me. I feel the community in me. 15 years later, that center's thriving based on only 4 fundamental principles: love, compassion, humility, respect, and dignity. And I will share this story before I end, because we are coming to 2015 now. City was very kind to me. I was blessed to be honored as the Martin Luther King's Diversity Business of the Year for a small business. They surprised me again as the Neighbor of the Year. Then they surprised me again as Humanitarian of the Year. Then the National Restaurant Association in Washington, D.C. chooses to make me the face of diversity from Arizona, chooses to make me the community cornerstone from Arizona. And in this very hallowed grounds of ASU, I was the finalist for the most coveted Spirit of Enterprise Award, and last year I was a humble winner of the award. Okay, Tempe Chamber of Commerce, repeat finalists. Phoenix Chamber of Commerce, Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce, we are the Impact Award recipients for 2016. What does it tell you? It's not about tooting the awards. It tells you, if you keep those fundamental principles of humanity in you, think human, in you, imbibed in you, okay, you will ride the crest of success. Don't be afraid to take the fear by the horn. And I will share one little story with you, and then back to Dr. Lester. Christmas time, I have a young black man walk into my center, all tattooed up, fully, okay, waltzing his way into the office, into the center. He says, brother, can I shake your hand? I said, shake my hand. I get up, shake my hand. He's 6'5" tall. The kid is sweating, you know, and I say, okay, shake my hand. Can I help you? He said, no, I'm cool, man. I'm cool. Walks around the whole center. 10 minutes later, he's zeroed in on all those expensive stuff that I have. And I get up from my desk and I say, brother, can I get you some water to drink? I offer water to everybody. He said, no, man, I'm cool. I told you I'm cool. You know, I'm just soaking it in. After 3 minutes, again, there were a couple of customers, little kids shopping. You know, they get afraid. It's a Friday afternoon, the restaurant is all packed. Okay, so they go there, I'm in the market. Then he says, I'm going to show you something, man. You know, he's putting his hand in his cargo pocket, and long thing comes out. Okay, long thing comes out. It's a phone. Okay, and he's thrusting it in my face. He said, is this you, brother? I said, yes, it's me. Okay, where do you get it? He said, man, you spoke at that humanitarian award 4 months ago, 3 months ago, and you talked about your mama, and I was in tears, but nobody wanted me to come near you because all the black suits were around you and cops and things, and I was picking up the trash from there. Okay, I said, then you should have come. He said, no, your words made me come. I've been asking 3 months for you, and nobody's telling me where you are. Today I decided in the morning, I'm going to come and meet you. I walked 6.5 miles to come and shake your hand because you changed my life. Moral. Don't judge people by the color of their skin. Don't judge people by their smell or the clothes they wear. because that is your fear, your inadequacy, your own inferiority complex that is staring at you. Okay? I gave him a hug. I bought him lunch right in my restaurant in front of everybody, and it changed my life. It made me know what human beings can be. It was the humility 101 that I learned that day. And I want you to understand. Look at yourself in the mirror. What are you afraid of? Somebody killing you? But you aren't dead so far. You won't die. Why do we reach out for the gun immediately? That's a sign of weakness. My hands, my center has $1 million inventory. It's never locked. No alarms are put. You know why? Because faith in human being. That's the one you're most afraid of, is the human being. The human species is the one you should be afraid of, but if you deal with them correctly, you can tame them, you can be yourself, and you will succeed. Thank you.